We've had protecting God's property, which is the church, building, and everything surrounding, the insurance. We talked about our body as a temple and treat it right, and what we need to ensure that everything stays within the correct parameters. Now we're at session 3 of empowering the church's financial decisions. And I've been working with Miss Kristie for the past year and a half now, and she has provided great guidance working at Truist Bank, and she has already helped a few churches come on board with Truist. They are easy to, what I believe to be easy to work with from a church standpoint, because they understand the AME church as a whole. If you are at the general conference last year, 24, you noticed that Truist was one of the biggest sponsors, and they partnered with the AME church as a whole. And so we understand the whole body of the AME church. And so along with Kristie, she brought with her Mara and Kimberly to be our workshop presenters on today. And without further ado, thank you for being with us to encourage us on financial health.
Thank you so much. Well, good afternoon, y'all. How is everybody today? You having a great conference so far? Yes, I'm so glad. And we are so excited to be here with you all. I just want to give a huge thank you, of course, to Reverend Hunter for giving us the opportunity. As he mentioned, last year we had an awesome opportunity to come to the general conference. I think it was in Ohio, right? And actually, it's so exciting because my leader was there. And so again, we were so excited to participate in that. And so again, we're excited to be with y'all this morning, or this afternoon actually. But my name is Bostelman. I am our financial inclusion leader for Truist here in the Hampton Roads market. I manage financial wellness and just bring knowledge, resources, tools, solutions to our communities, okay? Because the more knowledge we have, y'all, the more successful we will be. And we are all about doing that. I have 27 years at Truist this year, unbelievable. I don't know how that happened. I woke up and here it was. But I have been in this particular role probably for the last 15 years. So again, excited to be with y'all this afternoon. I have 2 partners today too. So Kristie Schuetz, as Reverend Hunter mentioned, is one of our branch leaders. She manages our Kempsville office in Virginia Beach. And she too has tremendous experience. I think, Kristie, you've been with the bank for 24 years, right? So 24 for Kristie, 27 for me. But she's a great resource to have. I mean, she works day in and day out with our clients, day in and day out with the churches, and she is happy to talk to anyone after the session about anything you need financially for your church and even for your personal life, okay? And then I know Kim has a slide later on, but Kim Robinson is here with us. Kim, too, has longevity, 24 for you too, Kim. So between the two of us, gosh, over 75 years, I think. Wow, that's crazy. But anyway, but Kim used to be one of our branch leaders in the Hampton market, actually, but now she is in a business lending role with the bank. So great resource to have as well, all right? So we passed out a couple flyers, y'all, and so I want you to take note. Everything that we do, we want you to have reference, okay? We want you to have a resource that you can come back to if you need it. So many of the things we talk about today, a lot of the content that we're offering today is in a participant workbook, okay? And I know Kristie's passing those out. But you can scan the QR codes on these documents, and it will take you to a participant workbook where you can reference all the content that we go over today, okay? The other thing that I passed around is a sign-in sheet. So we are capturing everyone's information, and again, we'd love to follow up with you after just to make sure that you got what you expected out of our session today, all right? So with that being said, y'all, we'll dive in. So just curious, what does anybody know about Truist? We're a bank, we're a good bank, I love that. I love that answer, good bank, yeah. What else? Yes. Absolutely. Yep. What else? Yeah. Very helpful. I love that. We try to be. Huh? Good customer service. Oh my gosh, you guys are making my day today. I love it. Y'all, that is everything that we stand for, really. Okay? So I'll tell you a little bit about Truist, because I think it's important for you to understand where we came from, who we are, where we're going, okay? So Truist was formed 5 years ago from two great financial institutions, SunTrust and BB&T. Y'all remember those names? Yeah, me too, me too. But that's how Truist was created, okay? So 5 years ago, we are now the 7th largest bank in the United States, full service, okay? And when I say full service, I mean full service. We can help individuals, businesses, with any and all financial solutions. From your everyday checking to making sure you have savings for your dreams and your goals, to making sure that you work on your credit, build your credit, borrow money, retire one day, put yourself in a home, retire, build your business. We can do it all, okay? So we are big. But we are also very small because we're all about community, y'all. And that's why I love what I do, and I've loved what I've done every day of my career at the bank. Because my passion is going out, connecting with individuals, teaching individuals what they need, and just making sure that you have what you need for a successful journey. Because every one of us in this room, y'all, we are all different people, okay? We have different dreams, we have different goals, we have different challenges. But that's the beauty of it, is we work with you as an individual to make sure that we understand you, okay? And what do you need for success today, tomorrow, and into the future, okay? So again, on our slide here, you can see our purpose. It really screams at you there. Inspiring and building better lives and communities, okay? That is what we are all about, all right? So with that being said, y'all, we really wanted to make sure we could deliver valuable information today. So when we talked with Reverend Hunter about what he was interested in, he felt strongly that he wanted us to bring knowledge to you all about what is important when you're running a business, okay? You all are part of the churches, right? And so making decisions on behalf of the church to make sure the church is run successful when it comes to the finances, okay? So some of this is going to be high level. I'm just going to go over a couple of slides, and then I'm going to actually hand it over to Kim, because she has some fantastic information about lending and what do you need to make sure you can get approved for loans, okay, on the business side, okay? So fundamentals for business growth. All businesses are unique. Oh, and actually I'm curious. I know we're here because of the church, but who actually runs a business separate from the church? Anybody? Just curious. Okay, we have a couple of people, so awesome. So this pertains to you too, not just to the church, okay? But fundamentals for business growth, okay? So it's really important to have not just 1, 2, or 3 of these things that you see on the screen, but you may need all of them, okay? Business accounts, okay? Making sure that you have accounts to do business every single day. Your operating accounts for the church. Payroll accounts. Making sure you pay your employees, okay? Methods to receive payments from your clients. So when you have your members, right, come in and they're making donations to the church, how are you receiving those payments, right? Methods to actually pay out. You know, you have to pay vendors to operate your church probably, right? So how are you actually paying them? And so what kind of solutions are out there to make sure that you do that easy and it's efficient for you, okay? Cash flow management tools to manage the cash flow of your churches and your businesses. Access to credit, access to capital, which Kim's going to talk about. And then, of course, insurance coverage. Very, very important. Just like we want to make sure we protect ourselves, our cars, our home, make sure the loved ones in our lives are protected, we want to protect our business too. We want to protect the church and what means the most to us. So again, those are all different types of things that are fundamental to run a church and run a business, and things that are really important to take a look at, okay? All right, so just a couple of things about debit and credit cards. Again, when you have a business account at a bank, you have the ability to have a debit card and or even a credit card for purchasing power, okay? Being able to use that for everyday purchases. You also are able to use that to give employees access to help you, right? So if you don't want to take it all on yourself and you have employees working for you, they can help you, okay, through debit cards and credit cards. Both also are very important to have because they help protect from fraud, okay? Cash, not replaceable, okay? But money in your account is, okay? And so again, both of those products that are attached to accounts can really help protect you from fraud. The other piece is establishing credit on behalf of the business, okay? So business credit cards do just that, all right? They help you build credit history on behalf of the church, on behalf of your business, okay? And they can also help with cash flow, all right? All right, so cash flow, how do you manage it? So I'll just ask the group this, because I don't always love to do all the talking. How are you all managing cash flow for your churches? How are you all managing cash flow right now? Anybody?
Maybe you could explain what you mean by that.
So how are you managing the cash that you're bringing in? Where are you putting it? How is it going out? What kind of tools and resources are you using to pay vendors? And how are you actually bringing in money from your congregations or your churches? Anybody want to share?
Breathe.
Huh? I'm so sorry.
Breathe.
Okay, all right. Breeze. What else? Breeze. Anybody using merchant services through a provider to actually accept credit? Okay, Breeze is one of the, okay, and I haven't heard of that one, but okay. But so you have programs out there to actually help you bring in. Awesome.
Banco.
Okay, all right, good. Anybody else?
Most churches are going old-fashioned way
Okay,
of using Excel spreadsheet.
okay, all right,
Or the notebook
okay,
of calculating income and output.
right, yep. Calculating your cash flow. That's right.
We have the software with QuickBooks.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm here to tell you, and again, I tell this to all my audiences, whether I'm talking to businesses or people personally managing their finances, you have to use what's comfortable. And you have to use what's best for you. Okay? What's best for one person or one entity is not necessarily going to be best for another. Okay? But just keep in mind, as you navigate and we continue to change, and I mean technology's taking over, there are a lot of things out there that can make life easier for you, that are more efficient, and they're not costly at all, okay? But they're going to make your life a whole lot easier and give you time back, okay? Because we all value time, don't we? Yes, we do. But again, cash flow, managing it through accounts, again, money in and out. Are you taking checks? Are you taking cash? You know, banks offer mobile deposits, so if you are receiving checks, rather than having to make a trip to the bank, you actually can get a scanner, or even take pictures of those checks to make it easy. And again, merchant services, the ability to accept money through credit. Okay, so a lot of different options. Yes, sir?
So what's the liability by taking a picture of a check? You know, aren't there some liability issues there that relate to that?
So with the with the products and services we have for that mobile capability, 100% secure. We highly recommend it because we wouldn't have it unless it was safe, but the mobile scanner takes care of that. So if you're scanning that check and using our mobile deposit product, you're not actually having to take a picture of the check, okay? So that's on the business side. Yes?
Compliment. I really like the tax service.
You like our tax service? Oh, I love that. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Did you hear that, y'all? So we do offer that. So we have someone in the room who likes that, which is wonderful. Thank you. Awesome. Yes, that's fantastic. But a lot of different ways to manage cash flow. And again, these are all things that we just wanted to generally speak on, and things we can connect with you afterwards on if you have additional questions to give you more information. All right. Oh, yeah.
Do you have any recommendations on using different types of software over going through a merchant? Because most of the
Right? Great question.
The associate.
Love this. Yeah, love your question. Kristie and I actually just did a presentation for our group yesterday, and we were talking about that same topic. So that's the thing. You can shop around, okay? And one of the things you really want to do is you don't want to necessarily give business to someone who's going to require you to actually sign a contract, okay? One of the things that I love about Truist and our merchant services and the ability to give you that to actually process incoming payments, we are one of the last banks to process on our own. So when you process with Truist, you're processing with us. You're not processing with a third party. You get 24/7 customer care through Truist if you process your merchant with us. You also get availability much quicker, whereas if you were to go through a third party, there might be several business days for it to clear and get into, be put into the account, whereas with Truist, it's immediate. So again, lots of advantages, and if you are with another processor, typically what we do is we do a comparison and we give you a quote, and that way you will know up front what you're having to pay, right? And again, no contract with Truist. So again, we're compliant with a lot of different softwares, and we'll be able to tell you that. So, great question. What else, y'all? No? Okay. So next, business insurance, y'all. Very, very important. Again, make sure that you're shopping around for your church to find out who is offering you the best rate. There's a lot of different insurance coverages, property insurance, general liability. That's really going to protect you from your everyday. The smallest little mishap can really result in a huge lawsuit. It's incredible. So we need to make sure that we're putting the right insurance in place to protect what means the most to us, okay? So a lot of different insurance. Workman's comp if you have employees, if you have vehicles on behalf of the church or even your business, you can do commercial auto insurance. Business interruption insurance, very interesting, probably came out because of COVID, right? But that exists now, and even cyber fraud. We see this every single day. Identity theft, y'all, #1 growing crime. So, again, lots of different options for insurance out there, and it's all about doing your research, making sure you have credible information, and making an informed decision from that to make sure that you are protecting your business, okay? All right, so we're going to get almost to Kim's part here. So why do businesses need to borrow? Well, a lot of different reasons. Maybe you want to buy a new location. Maybe you want to lease a location, purchase equipment, gain access to capital, weather seasonal lows and highs. Not so much with a church, I don't think, right? Because you have year-round business. Consolidate existing business debt, and have available funds for growth. Okay, so a lot of different reasons for borrowing, okay? But with that being said, y'all, like I said, the biggest piece of information we wanted to deliver today was just education on loans, and so I'm going to bring up my beautiful partner in purpose, Kimberly Robinson.
Thank you. I hope I can see. I work virtual now that I moved into the lending department, and so I'm now realizing how bad my eyes are. I told Kristie, I said, I don't think I can see your board. So bear with me on that. Yes, so I am, for Truist, I am a small business consultant. So what I typically do is I meet with business clients, depending on their journey. Some people are startups, some people are switching banks, looking for lending. A lot of times that's my main focus. So what I do with the client is I meet, kind of figure out what, the purpose of the loan is. And my job is to structure it so that I can get it to underwriting and hopefully get it approved. So I took on this role, the consulting role, about 6 months ago, and it is definitely eye-opening being in that role. In the branch, I did small business lending, but we also wear many other hats, so we're not just focused on lending, and in this role, I'm able to 100% focus on it, and having that direct connection with the underwriting team has opened my eyes up to a lot of different ways that they may look at it on their side of the fence versus how we may look at it on the lender perspective. So please, if you have any questions, please feel free. This is high-level overview, but if I see something I want to elaborate or think will be helpful, I might just go off the cuff a little bit. Okay, so here I'm going to that thing. So why businesses need funds? Of course, like Mara mentioned, growing your business, so opening a new location, launching new products, digital marketing, increased production, so renovations. We see a lot of equipment lending, sometimes just needing capital, startup as well. So clients need a lot of startup cash to get their business off the ground, and manage cash, engage in business. So consolidating debt, like we mentioned earlier. So these are just some of the main things that clients call me for, or might, need a little help with getting executed. So where can you find funding? So of course, like we mentioned earlier, cash reserves. So a lot of people like to use their own cash. I see that a lot because then they don't have any credit because they use the cash. Cash is king. However, it's not a bad thing. So if you use cash, that's fine. One of the cons about using it is sometimes it takes a lot to rebuild and replace it. So you want to make sure if you are using your cash, you're using it wisely. We don't recommend that you exhaust everything you saved. And that's where we come in to kind of determine if, cash is probably best at this time. Equity investment. So a lot of times we see a lot of owners put their own equity. Some people own their own homes and use their own equity in their property to then invest it into their business. So that's always an avenue. We have equity from external sources. So people may use partners or other people that invest in businesses to kind of invest in their company. One of the cons may be that they may earn a piece of your business or expect a return on your business, so be mindful of that. And then the last one is us, of course, coming to a bank, making sure that you have us to kind of help you design which product and services you may use. So one of the questions we ask, like I mentioned before, is business cash versus equity or borrowing. So here are some of the questions that you may want to ask yourself to determine, should I use cash? Should I use my equity? Should I go to the bank to borrow? So how much do you have in business cash reserves? Like I mentioned, lots of clients come, they'll start a business and they'll exhaust all their cash, and then a rainy day comes and they have nothing. An unexpected expense happens and then they want to come to the bank. Trust me, when you are doing lending, cash in the bank is a factor in our decision, okay? They may not tell you that, but it does matter. Okay, so if you are asking for a loan and you don't have any reserves, it doesn't strengthen your application. It is a risk to the underwriter, so the more cash and liquidity you have to show, in the event that I fall short or have an issue this month, I have this cash in my account that I can rely on and pay you guys, that is going to help the underwriter get that deal approved a lot quicker. So you want to keep that in mind. So what plans do you have to use them? So again, if you do have the cash in your account, is it allotted for something? Are you going to be using it to purchase something big, or can we expect it to just sit in there as reserves? Let's see. Your profit supports reinvestment. So like he mentioned earlier, a lot of churches, I deal with a lot of churches. Matter of fact, I'm working on 2 church loans right now. So I'm used to the profit and loss and the QuickBooks sheets. And we look at that and we're like, are you breaking even at the end of the year, or are you showing a profit? Okay, so that profit and loss for churches act as the pay stubs. It acts as their tax returns if they are a 501c3. So sometimes I'm amazed, and no offense, but sometimes they'll bring it to me and it clearly shows that they're paying out more than they're bringing in, and they're asking me for a loan. So, make it make sense, okay? So it has to make sense. So please pay attention to what you're putting on your profit and loss. Make it easy, make it clear so that we can understand. We don't like paperwork and all over. We want things nice and neat and legible. But however, please understand, and if you don't understand your own financials, that's where we come in as the go-between underwriting and the client, to have you have a better understanding of what's being presented. Okay, so without going any further than that, how much debt do you have now, and do you plan on borrowing in the future? That's always a big thing. For my for-profit business clients, this is huge because we're coming up on tax time, And tax advisor's job is to save you taxes, right? So they tend to write off a lot of your income. So when they come to me, they say, oh, I made $200 and something thousand. Then when I look at their tax return, they are negative profit. It's very important to have a conversation with your tax advisor and make sure they understand your needs for that year that you're planning to expand by, so that you can show the income on your tax returns. That is one of the biggest reasons why I decline a loan every day. Okay, so what products do most banks have? Of course, credit card. To me, those are the easiest ones to get. So if you are in the startup stage of owning a business, credit card is probably the most beneficial, easiest way. The reason why is because it doesn't require any tax returns, financials. It's really just going to go off of the strength of your credit. However, you as the owner or guarantor is going to play a huge factor in that. So typically we look for established credit by the owner or the guarantor. Typically, off the cuff, I would say credit history up to 3 years. They're going to evaluate to make sure that you've been paying on time. And if that is good, then they will allow you to start establishing credit on the business side, which then makes it a lot easier moving on to the next stage of lending. Because if the business has good credit and you have good credit, it lessens the documentation, and that's what we want to do. So we also have business loans and lines of credit. Biggest thing, clients love lines of credit, but the biggest thing about the line of credit, the bank wants it as a short-term use. So if we set you up a line of credit, or most banks have a line of credit, they evaluate it every some odd years. We do every 3 years, and they want to make sure that the client is not keeping balances on it. Use it, pay it off, use it, pay it off. So if a client comes in and asks for a line of credit to buy a truck, no, we're gonna put you in a loan, okay? So because that makes more sense, right? A fixed payment, fixed amount of time, give you time to pay it down. A line is a variable line of credit. So it's not a fixed product, and it's gonna be renewed in 3 years. So we don't want you putting a large balance on there, because in 3 years, most likely you haven't paid it down, which doesn't look good to the bank. So if you do a line of credit, please make sure you're utilizing it for very short-term cash flow. So construction companies are really good. They buy materials up front. Once they completed the job, they pay it down, etc. So, or for churches, if you have an event going on, then you might need to buy supplies for that event, and once it's over, then you can pay it back. That's how the line of credit is used. So the purpose really matters when it comes to loans and lines with that. But the biggest difference between a loan and a line is the interest rate and how you utilize it, okay? Other source of funding, of course, family and friends. We always can use that. I mentioned the equity investors, so bringing in partners or other people that may lend. And then CDFI, that's local community credit unions, as well as community banks that may have specialized lending. There may be some out there, I'm not too familiar, but you know, that is another avenue that some clients may look into. Of course, they have in here other lenders, peer-to-peer, and then crowdfunding, that's just fundraisers, you know, doing donations. So they're just mentioning other ways to come up with capital rather than just borrowing as the only need. So let's talk about what lenders seek, okay? And we call these the 5 C's, okay? So this is what we look at every application when a client come in, or after we put the application in. So of course, credit history, that's no brainer, right? We're gonna look at your credit history, see how you've been paying, if you have business credit. If you don't have business credit, we're gonna weigh more heavily on your personal, right? Because we have no business financials, and we see that a lot in startups, right? So with startup companies, we have no financials, we have nothing else to base it on but your personal credit. So that's important. Capacity, can you pay that back? Like I mentioned, the profit and loss. You asking me for a vehicle loan as a church, or a new van, or a new parking lot, but when I get the financials, I don't know how to go to underwriting if it's breaking even. So you have to show that the business and or the church can support a payment. So this is a good time when you're shopping around to ask for an estimate of what that payment may look like. So when you do your own cash flow, however you are getting funds through the profit and loss, tax returns, pay stubs, see by your own debt that you're paying, do you have enough room to pick up an extra $500 or $600, whatever that payment is? So capacity is important too. I mentioned capital. So reserves, liquidity is always good. We don't need you to come up with the money, but if you have the money, it helps. And I am going to be honest with you, we do take care of our own first. So if you bank with us, that helps. If you don't bank with us, why are you here? Why are you not at Bank of America? You know, I'm just being honest, okay? So if we're going to ask for an override or please help this client out, it's going to be for the ones that have a relationship with us. So that's off the books. It's not written anywhere, but I see it all day long, okay? So just keep that in mind. Okay, conditions. So what are the conditions? So this is a big one too. Does it make sense, right? What you asking for makes sense. I'll give you an example. I have a client owns a successful business, takes care of autistic people, right? She comes in, she says, I want to borrow $100,000, $50,000 is going to be to expand my business and create, she wants to do like a farm so that they have something therapeutic. Okay. And I said, what's the other $50,000 for? And she's like, I want to open a pizza restaurant. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not going to, I can't use your autistic business to invest in the pizza restaurant. It doesn't make sense, right? So we're not going to have you risk that. Now we can do a pizza one, but that's going to be a startup and that's going to be a different segment. So, you know, just make sure it makes sense. When you are coming up with the purpose and the condition, like I mentioned, a line of credit versus the loan. You don't use a line of credit to buy a vehicle. You do a vehicle order loan. So those things have to make sense, and it has to be structured. And collateral. Although we lend without collateral, collateral is great because it allows us to reduce the rate for you, maybe extend it out. It makes the bank feel a little bit more confident in coming up, giving out that money. And if not, if you don't have collateral, just move up 2 more buckets to that capital because that's when that's going to play a huge part in whether we lend to you or not. Okay, so the 5 C's is very important. So let's go into churches, okay, because I do a lot of churches, and this is just Truist underwriting. I'm not talking about all banks, so I can't tell you what all banks would do. But for Truist, the organization must be around for a minimum of 10 years. Okay, so that is important. We want to see that it's been established for a while. It has a strong understanding of the industry and how to run the organization. And we like to see consistency. So pastoral, the staff, the trustees, are they still in place, etc. Minimum cash flow. When we talked about cash flow, I think the gentleman asked what comes in and what's out, what's left over. To the bank, we like to see 1.2% on your cash flow. What that means is for every dollar you borrow, we want to see you be able to pay $1.20. So $10,000, we're gonna underwrite you and see if you can pay $12,000 back. That's how we do our calculation. We always leave that wiggle room for, you know, unexpected expenses. And then of course we do give a little leverage for collateral. So you do see if you have real estate, we will go up a little bit higher on that. Yeah, so minimum liquidity is 10%. So if you are a church and you are looking to borrow anything substantial, not a credit card, anything substantial, typically we like to see 10% most as the minimum of that dollar amount you borrowing. So we will probably ask for bank statements for that. And when it comes down to liquidity, it can't be any money on what they call restricted funds. So if you have anything for the purpose of something that we do not count in that liquidity bucket, okay? It has to be accessible. And we do not accept pledges. So, you know, oh, in 6 months such and such is going to give us, no, that doesn't work. Okay. So that's just the basis for nonprofit. And here's the beautiful thing about nonprofits. They don't need guarantors at Truist. So we don't have to pull trustees' credit. We don't have to pull pastors' credit. We don't have to pull anyone's credit, right? We're just going to look at liquidity and that balance sheet and that profit and loss to determine. So you guys create them and you send them to us and we're going to look at them. And if you file, we are going to ask for the 990s if anyone files for that. Yes?
Would you please say that again in regards to guarantee? Because that has been an ongoing
conversation.
Yes.
With trustees sometimes saying, hey, well, we don't want to
You
put
don't.
our name and all that stuff on that stuff.
Right. So we do collect the bylaws to determine who has the authorization to sign on behalf of the church, but the church is ultimately responsible. And everyone's board and trustees are different. Sometimes I see just the pastor, sometimes I see it requires the whole trustee, however you guys decide, but we do not pull anyone's credit. And if you go through the process, you'll realize we don't even ask you for your social. We do everything under the church, but that because we do that, again, that's why the liquidity and the relationship is really important, okay? And that's why the 10 years is so important, because they want to see a strong foundation for the church. So again, we do not pull credit. I had a client beg me to let him sign for a church, and I was like, no, we don't want to. We don't even want to put you on now. And I think a lot of that is because we know membership changes, trustee boards change, right? So, you know, we can't guarantee that that person that's a trustee is going to be there next year. And that's probably in the bylaws, so we got to be really careful about how we structure that. So, no, we do directly on a church. And if the church is not as strong as another, we may require collateral to kind of help that deal out. Does that clarify it? Yes.
We're talking about credit.
Yes.
About credit score.
Okay. So we do pull Vantage, Truist. We do pull Vantage score, not FICO, and it is pulled through Equifax. But I do want to point out one thing. So credit score is a strong indication that you have decent credit history. But, so my nephew, I'm helping him out, and he got 2 credit cards, and his score is in the high 600, but we wouldn't give him $50,000, you know? So the score is good, but the history is better, if that makes sense? Okay. I mean, is that serious? I see 600 credit scores, those high 600s, and I pull up and you have 1 car loan. You don't have a history of credit. Yes.
Can I add? I want to add something to that real quick on the personal side. You've had your first credit card when you're 18, right? You're going to 59 like I am, and you don't want to use that card anymore, and you go to close it. That shuts down your credit history from when I was 18. And my next card I didn't get until I was 30 or 40. Okay,
Yeah.
so now that
Starting
shortens
fresh.
my credit history. So I want you to understand that, okay? Closing your credit cards, if you do it a lot quickly, it's going to lower your score very quickly doing that. So just kind of wanted to add
Yeah.
that.
And you notice most banks do not advertise a score. And you can go to us and then you can go to Wells Fargo and you're going to get 2 different scores. You're not going to get the same scores because we all grade differently with who we use. Like I said, we use Equifax. They know what type of client we're seeking. So when they send their score to us, it's one thing. It's based on what we want to see and weigh versus what you may get directly if you go to Equifax.com. So I wouldn't worry too much. My thing is history. And like I said, if you're a startup, the last 3 years, okay? And outside income if you're a startup. Any startups or potential startups in here, you're a startup. So if you come to us and you say, I want you to help me invest, we're going to say, well, what are you investing in your own business? So it has to make sense, okay? So for the nonprofit, I mentioned we don't require a guarantor. We do consider a loan size of $250 or less a small loan. Okay, so it doesn't require as much documentation. If it's over $250, we require you to go to commercial for that underwriting. And typically we can do, the repayment terms up to 15 years or less. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So if you go inside a bank or you come into Truist, what will we need from you? Last 2 years profit and loss. Or a 990, we have a completed application we make you do. Liquidity, again, I mentioned that 8,000 times is very, very important. We want to see your bylaws. We want to see that you guys have minutes, that the church all agrees with what they want to do. So we want a copy of those minutes. And we want a resolution as well, which sometimes is in the bylaws. But that's just basically saying who can sign on behalf of the church. So we have that in writing and delivered by the church, okay? And so once we do that and we identify the need, we take the application. At that point, that's where I collect everything. I'm gonna set it up for underwriting. And let me tell you, they cut me no slack in this role. When I was in a branch, okay, you forgot this. In this role, you know better. Don't send me an incomplete package. It will be declined right away. So this is where I come in to make sure we got everything in a row. And it's not all lenders do it, but I do it. So like I mentioned with the profit and loss, I called the church yesterday and said, look at line 3 and look at line 20. You have no income here. I can't go to underwriting and give you an approval. So I'm honest like that. And I said, go back to the trustees, talk it over, come back, or we may need to wait till 2025. We at the end of 2025, so maybe that one looks better. Because I don't want to decline, and if I know you're going to be declined, it's a lot of work for me to go put it in when I already know it's going to be declined. So I'm going to bring it back to you and tell you the truth. So after we do that, we go to underwriting. Then from underwriting, we go to decision. Hopefully it's approved with some good terms, and then from there, it may require appraisal, any other final requirements, closing, and then repayment. So after you go to repayment, it just doesn't stop there, guys. So just make sure that you're paying on time, because a lot of these times, especially with churches, they do review your loan throughout the process. So if you are doing a 15-year, they will, in 5 years, pull it and look at how your payment history is. And I hate to say it, but sometimes they will tell you to go find another lender. You got a certain amount of months to refinance it outside of the bank if they don't feel like you're paying on time. So that is important. And continue to pay your bills even if you have to put it on ACH or electronic or one of those devices Mary was talking about. But address any business issues or deficits. So if you are looking to lend in 2026, it will be a good time to start pulling your credit or pulling anything underneath the church to make sure those hiccups are removed. They will block or hinder you from getting approval. So now's a good time to start cleaning up anything that may be weighing out there that you know you need to correct. So build your track record of sales, profit growth to support your borrowing. So again, we talked about the 5 C's. So good time to start saving, making sure you're in the right products and services, like she mentioned, the cash flow. And then continue to build equity. So after you get that loan, continue to put that money away, continue to have strong balance sheets, focus on that so that we can continue to lend. And once we do that, you will see the process goes super duper quick for the clients that we are able to serve in our discipline. So, key points, I cannot read this, it's a little too small for me. I'll try on my sheet. So give me a minute.
Want me to read it?
Yeah, sure, you can read it.
Okay. Do I need a microphone? Am I loud enough?
She's loud
I'm
enough.
loud, right? Okay. Borrowing requests should drive meaningful business outcomes. Borrowing, along with equity and cash reserves, are the primary sources of business funding. The best type of financing for your business, credit card, loan, line of credit, depends on your situation and what it is that you want to accomplish. Lenders focus on 5 considerations when assessing a loan request: credit history, capacity, capital, conditions, and collateral. 5 C's like Kim had talked about. Understanding the borrowing process and settling the right expectations can lead to a smoother experience and a more positive outcome. Do I need this, really? Okay. All right, now I had to lower my voice. All right, putting your borrowing profile, I didn't mean to yell at you if I was yelling. Putting your borrowing profile in writing can help you and a lender understand the fundamentals of your business and your borrowing needs.
Thank you, Kristie. And do I have any questions about business funding and business lending, for-profit or non-profit? If not, you do? Yes.
So in churches, we have quite a few senior citizens.
Okay.
Is age ever a factor in evaluating whether you can
I've never
administer a
seen it.
loan?
Not with churches because it's guarantor. Again, there's no guarantors because we expect trustees and stuff to change. So age isn't a factor.
What about personal?
I don't do personal lending. I'll pass that off to Kristie. But I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't
No, it does not. We are not.
I'm gonna buy a new house. Can I get it? I'm 80 years old.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for your presentation.
Sure.
Is there an opportunity for churches that have an existing business relationship or established a relationship to have products offered to the members at a reduced, offering or some benefit to the church, where we can continue to build a relationship? And
Are
the
you talking about
members and
on
the
the lender
members,
side, or you just talking about
or
in general?
just products that may benefit the members of the church?
Unfortunately, we don't have any programs like that at this time. The biggest thing for Truist is building the relationship and really showing value in who we are, what we do, and how we can build a relationship for the long term. We feel very confident that most of the products and services that we offer on the personal side are very, sorry. We feel strongly that most of the products and services that we offer in the marketplace on both the personal and the business side are very competitive. And so we don't want people banking with us because we're reducing a rate or giving them a discount. We want them to bank with us because they see value in what we're doing and the care that we're giving and the relationships that we're building. But I will say, we would love an opportunity. We do this all day long to come in to the churches and just do financial education with the members, because in addition to the small business piece that we did today, one of the pieces that I also present on in our communities is the importance of budgeting, the importance of saving, understanding how to build credit, what is credit, what goes into determining credit, and then how do you manage debt. And we even have a segment on becoming a homeowner, and what does it take to become a homeowner, making that dream come true. So we can, we would love all day long to come in and do education. And then of course, share our solutions and show value in what we have to offer. So, yeah.
So I want to just add that a little bit if I can. So on the personal side, we have accounts that you're not going to pay us a fee. Our job as a banker is to get you not to pay us fees. Okay, so literally, you're going to have a consultative conversation with a banker, and they're going to fit you with the best products and services that we have. And it's ultimately your decision. We don't sell you anything, we share benefits. We share the benefits of our products and services for you guys. You decide whether you want to bank with us or not. So, and it is all about relationship-based.
With churches, sometimes they have, let's say, a renovation, construction loan. Is there a pre-qualifying to test the water before you jump all the way in, or you gotta jump all the way in? Yeah.
That's where I come in as a consultant. So we don't do pre-approvals because every church financials are different. So again, like I'm working with a church today, I pre-screened her. Provide me your 2 years. And I kind of look at it because I don't potentially want to send up anything that's going to be declined. So at that point, I will have a conversation about what my concerns, and I will let her know that I think if we go in with this information, you may not get approved. So then I do allow them to go back and correct whatever if they can. So that will probably be the closest you get to in a pre-approval.
Okay, the other question is, other than Elder Hunter's expertise in construction, a lot of churches don't have the project manager kind of expertise, and so they want to, do a major renovation that's going to cost, some money, but they don't have the expertise with a project manager. Where do you come in to assist or to say, hey, look over here first before, or roll this into the loan in some kind of way? How do you come across with that?
So when you say project manager, are you saying so you're looking to purchase a new building, renovation, or either or?
Well, it could be either or, but mostly renovation.
Okay, so you have a project in mind, and you kind of estimate what the cost is gonna be. Again, it's just gonna be you providing me with what financials you have, and then me helping you structure it to get you to underwriting. Yeah, I don't know how to quite.
Well, maybe I didn't explain it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm saying that I don't have the expertise in, let's say, renovation. But I know we need renovation. You know, the church needs to be upgraded.
Okay.
And so what I'm saying is that the project manager is a person who has that expertise to assist,
Yeah.
you know, us through that, the church through that process. So what I'm saying is that what is best for us to get a project manager first, or should we roll that into a loan and work with you? I mean,
No,
where does the project manager? Well, that's the question. How do we? And so we don't have the money for all of that. Then how do we get that?
So that's out of our scope. You will have to kind of find outside networking, or maybe connect with another church to kind of help you, or recommend someone to kind of help you in regards to the renovation. We don't get that deep in the woods, to be honest with you.
Okay.
We're just doing a lending piece on it. Now, we may ask to see your estimates, but we don't require the renovator or the construction person to have this. Or that. We don't, that's not our area of expertise, I'm sorry.
So going into a renovation project, the church would need to know, to have some sort of expertise as to
Who they want to use, yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Just kind of like you do your primary residence. You know,
Okay.
no one comes and kind of tells you what construction company you need to use. You're pretty much have to do your own self-research for that. Now, we'll come in and finance it for you, but we're not going to monitor or assist with who's going to do that project.
Well, okay. I may need to talk.
I mean, if someone asks me, do you know a contract, I might recommend a few clients that I know, but I won't, yeah, that's far beyond what I do.
Vet your qualified contractors, and they will help you with project management.
There you go. There you go. But we can cover the expense of the project management in your loan.
Yeah, that's what he was asking.
So you can roll that expense if there's enough equity to do so.
Elder, I want to thank you for making this possible. And even though we've focused on the corporate side, thank you for talking about the personal. I would urge every person in here, if you haven't done so already, I don't care how much money you have, to have a personal relationship with a bank so that you can do planning for your future in the area of wealth management. The times are calling for us to pay attention to whatever resources we have and to get professional help in managing those resources. And I'm thankful for Truist Bank. We've been with Truist Bank for 40 years. And I would not turn to any other bank. We were with Truist Bank when it was Crestar.
Wow.
And before, when it was United Virginia Bank.
Wow.
So having that resource where you can go and sit down and talk to somebody who knows you and knows your record and your background and your situation, and can tell you, okay, Miss Hayward, no, here's what I suggest you do. You'll be safe if you do this, this, and this. It's just amazing. And so I would encourage everybody, and you don't think that you have, you know, you gotta have this amount of money in order to go sit down and talk to somebody. But it really is amazing to have that kind of guidance. So I'm a Truist fan.
Any other questions?
First, a statement. It sounds like you need her on your team. Let's not just say that right quick.
I know, right? Take my application.
What is the greatest challenge that most churches face when it comes to getting the loan they need for the projects that they have? Do you have something general?
Yes, liquidity. That's always a challenge. And the profit and loss, maybe showing a profit year to date. Or sometimes they show profit, they just may not show enough to support a payment, a new payment. So I just told my client that I'm helping now because she's a church and she has profit, right? But she just don't have enough to cover this loan that they want to do. And I told her, I said, put it in this perspective, add that to the balance sheet as though it was a debt you had now, and see what it does to your balance sheet. And you will be in a negative. And that's not a position we want to put a church in. So those are the two areas, liquidity and maybe not showing enough income at the end of the year. Cash. Cash. We say liquidity because they might be in investment accounts and other type of CDs. So liquidity kind of covers all buckets, but cash. 10% minimum.
I have a question, real quickly. The first question I have is in regards to when a church comes to you for a loan and you for collateral. What is the percentage of churches that get the secured loan with the collateral and with the unsecured without collateral? What is your approval? What is your...
It depends. It depends on the purpose. Remember, we went back to that purpose, okay? So, are you buying a vehicle? Then I can use the title. Are you doing renovations? I might be able to use your building. Or do you just need cash flow to buy day in or weekly supplies? I might give you a credit card. So, it varies. Churches don't come normally for like everyday simple loans. They normally come when they need renovations or something big, buying a church van. They're not like your everyday personal clients. So I would say just on my loans that I've done is mainly collateral because that's normally what they come to do. They don't come to borrow $5,000. You know, they normally come to buy something large for the church. Thank you. Good question.
You know, I was going to add in one more thing that I thought of when you were talking about wealth, and then you asked the question about liquidity. The other thing that we've found over the years especially is that there's so much money just sitting in checking accounts. On the business side, okay? Your money is not making money for you in a checking account, okay? So when a church is sitting on all this money in a checking account, it shouldn't just be sitting in a checking account. We want to be able to help you and put you in a product that's going to actually make you money, like a high yield savings, a money market. So just keep that in mind as well. That's really, really important. Okay? And rates are really good right now. Now, of course, there's been some rumblings that rates are going to start to go down. But any interest rate is better than zero. Okay? So just keep that in mind too.
My concern, I guess, is a question as well as a statement. So many people now are being scammed. Fraud is common language now in the market, and so many people don't know what to do, what they've been scammed about, except for they're losing a lot of money and don't know how to recover it. Could you all make a statement on that? Because I know some witnesses in the room that have been scammed or an attempted scam on your cell phone and your house phone, and they pretend to be one thing, but these folk with these strong accents I question it. Where you live? Where you from? You know, how do you know that I have a knee problem or a back problem? I just want to know what approach does the bank suggest we do once you've been fraud, taken a scam, or have been taken advantage of financially? Because a lot of elderly people don't know what to do.
Yep.
So I'm saying on behalf of the elderly and the young folk.
So I'm gonna touch on that because now I see this is where you've reached Kristie's passion. Okay? So my passion is the elderly. I'm a widow. I'm 59. I was a widow at 48. Okay? My husband died at 48, had a massive heart attack, drowned in a lake, and my daughter held onto his body so we didn't lose him. So there's a lot more to my testimony on that, but without God I would not have gotten through it. So, I have a lady comes in every Friday. She has $45,000 with us. She takes $350 out. We know exactly how she wants it. We put it in an envelope for her. She comes in one Friday and she tells us, I'm going to have some work done on my house. I need $15,000. My teller starts asking her questions. Well, what do you need that for? Why do you need cash? Why don't you do a cashier's check? No, I'm getting a discount. Getting a discount with cash. And again, my teller asks her, are you sure? I feel like you might be being scammed or taken advantage of. Okay? So they ended up giving it to her because we cannot refuse to give you your money. She came in the next day. She wanted 20. So they called me up. I came up and I pulled her in my office and I shut the door and I said, ma'am, this is out of your character. This is not something you do. We really need to understand it. We don't have that cash for you today, but we can order it for you. So if the bank says that, we probably have it, in all honesty, but I got to take a few minutes to have a day or two so she can sit on that. Because you come in scared, and we stopped that, but I later found out, when she came in to tell us, that she had $375,000 over at Wood Forest Bank that they took her for. This is an older lady that retired. Now she came in and told us she was doing renovations on her house. She sold it. And she lost it. So there are a lot of scams. They will tell you to go to the bank and don't say nothing to your teller. Just there's a warrant out for your arrest because you missed jury duty. Okay? All right. Okay? So I will tell you, if they tell you not to tell your banker, tell your banker. Call your daughter, call your son, call your sister, call somebody and tell them. Now, you lose money, right? I just had a gentleman got taken over Microsoft. He's on his computer. They pop up and say it's time to renew your spyware. Do not click the button, okay? Do not. I post a lot of this on Facebook all the time because, and I'm not a blogger or anything, but I just so want to blog to protect our seniors and our widows and widowers. So I cry a lot at my desk with these people. They took over his computer and they told him, yeah, we've got you fixed. Guess what? You don't have to pay $173. We actually owe you $35. And I'm going to put that in your account right now. Okay? They tell them to shut down their computer, just open up your iPad, because they don't want you to see what they're doing. And they go into your online banking, because they've taken over your computer, and they've transferred the money from your savings account to your checking account. And they transferred $3,000. So now they're telling the client, oh, we hit too many decimal points and we can't pull it back. I need you to go to your bank and take out that money and send it to us. What happened was, it was his grandchild's savings account, and they emptied it. They gave him a QR code to go to an ATM machine, which is involving Bitcoin and Cash Apps, and they told him to throw this receipt away, but he didn't. Because he didn't, he went to the police. And then the police sent him to the FBI, because see, there's an account number on that receipt. and we're hoping he gets it back. But if you've had fraud where people have taken money out, go to your bank, go to the police, file a police report. If they tell you to contact the FBI, you do it. Okay? It is rampant. I could spend all day on this, so I've got to stop talking, but all I'm saying is, does it make sense? The bank is not going to text you and ask you for information. They are not going to, if I call you, I'm not asking for your social, I got it. You call in, we will ask authenticating questions. We're going to ask where you opened your account, what type of accounts, do you have direct deposit, what's direct deposit? We're going to ask you those questions. Another thing that's happening, and I need to, really quick, we get a lot of out-of-state people. They'll come in, they've got a driver's license, it's got their picture of the person that's in front of them, they've got your account number, because somebody has washed your check and taken it. And now they're going to try to cash it, but they're acting like they're that person here visiting. We can go into our computer, right? Now anytime somebody comes from another state, we are all on red alert. What are you doing here? What do you need? How are you doing? The bank might just call your cell phone number. If you don't pick it up, you ain't cashing that check. We have a way of going into the computer to see if somebody's changed your address or your phone number within the last 90 days. Okay? If they have, we will see your old phone number. I have called many a client in Florida. One guy just got out of a hospital. Sir, are you in Virginia Beach? No, I just got out of the hospital. Well, there's a gentleman at my window that is trying to cash a $3,500 check. I need you to go to your bank because I am shutting your accounts down. You need to go to your branch and open up new accounts. It is rampant. Tell your friends. Please. That's all I got to say.
One more question.
Business cards and flyers for different types of accounts out on the table out there. Please pick it up, call me, email me, whatever you need to do.
All right, they have one more question. Go ahead, Doctor.
Well, this is not a question. Okay, this is a testimony that you just hit on, because I've been scammed, okay, or attempted to be scammed. And I went to the state police, right, the Virginia State Police, and with the guy on the phone,
That's what you do.
And he said that he did not want to talk to the state police and hung up. I immediately went to, well, it was at night, when this happened. But I immediately went the next day to my credit union and explained to them what had happened. And they shut my account down, changed my entire account. Luckily, I did not follow through because they had rolled everything from all of my accounts into one account. And the bank actually was able to save my money. And they separated it and put it back into its original, accounts that they were supposed to be in with a different number. Then they asked me, they demanded that I have a password when I come to the teller. That we have a joint account, and we have to give them that password before we can do any business. Cash a check, deposit money, or whatever. So that's my testimony.
Amen.
Please. You can also go online to your online banking and block your cards. Okay? So if it happens at night, go online. Block your card, no one can use it.
No. And I want to thank Kristie, Mara, and Kimberly from Truist Bank. Thank you for that financial health information. Amen. For personal and corporate side. Amen.